You are now tuned in to Coffee Talk on LE Radio. Yeah. Serving you up some new flavor, fresh out of ATL. Where the vibes prevail, the convo's held between a scale of 1 to 10 exceeds 1,000. But do you feel me? Go ahead and get your cups ready as we pour into your mind, slow and steady. You may need a full cup for this. CoffeeTV.com. We got raw and adulterated conversations, live, provocative entertainment, new flavor in your ear for my podcast talk show radio. Watch us live online in the studio. Tell a friend they can come too. Never know what's in store with the whole crew. Cause we got yeah. Get here for the vibes. Follow us at LE Radio Live.
Hello.
Hello, everybody.
How y'all doing tonight?
Oh my gosh. I love my little intro. I was over here bopping. I'm like, yes.
Oh my God, it's been a long week, but we are here on Sunday evening, a little early than what we usually come on. We usually on about 7, but we're a little early this week, trying to still figure out what's good times to come on. So we still playing around with the times on when to go live and when not to go live, and working around our very busy schedules outside of our 9 to 5s and families and other things that we have going on in our lives. So anyway, welcome to the show, and I'm gonna turn it over to Brittany.
So, of course, like I said, good evening, everyone is tuning in to Coffee Talk Radio. So yeah, like she said, we're playing with the times, but the show will be on Sundays. So to kind of go through our lineup again, so starting on Fridays, we have the ATL mix. Then immediately after, we have Poetic Soul Artistry. Saturdays, we have Ami Brown, the Hood Doctor herself. And then you'll have us with Coffee Talk Radio. And then afterwards is Shy City Cafe featuring the Love Boy. So that's just to kind of give you a little bit. Also, please do not forget to go to the social media website. If you hit up coffeetalk.com, you'll be able to log in and you'll be able to see all of us, everybody who contributed on the shows as well as off the shows. It's an amazing social media site, much better than Facebook, better than MySpace, all of that, because those similar restrictions that you have that are not there. Plus, it's Black owned. I mean, what better? There's no other excuse. It's Black owned, so of course I'm on it. So definitely make sure that you go to coffeetalk.com so you can stay up on everything that is LE Radio, everything that is Punany Poets, everything that is Holter Intellectual Properties, everything that is everything.
Everything. And like she said again, it's Black owned. I know because my wife created it. So go ahead on, hop on. Does not have all the limitations that Facebook has. You know how Facebook used to be free, and now every time I go on my Facebook page, I'm a little disappointed because I used to be on there and I could post something, I could see somebody else post and we could have a whole conversation. It might be 50, 60 like general conversations about a topic. But now when I go and I log in on Facebook, all I'm seeing is advertisement. Like that's the first thing I see on there is a bunch of advertisement. I don't see any of these people post unless I directly go to their pages now. Whereas before, all this stuff will come up in my feed and it's I see like the same 4 or 5 people, and I only see the person if I go to their page and then they post some, then it'll pop back in my feed. But I just don't see people personal pages no more. All I see is a bunch of advertisement on Facebook. Is so yeah, join coffeetalk.com. You see it right down there at the bottom. Here I go with the finger again, trying to figure out. But y'all see it down there at the bottom, coffeetalk.com. Make sure you go on there and join us. And moving right along, Brittany.
Absolutely. So tonight's topic, well, it touched on 2 things actually. So the first one will be communication and communication styles in particular, because everybody's talking about, oh, communication is key. I need somebody who can communicate well. Shout out to Mrs. Jones for saying hello. Hey, honey. So communication styles are rarely something that's ever talked about. Everybody is like, oh, I need somebody who knows how to communicate, but do you know how you communicate? Because there's at least 4 main communication styles that are out there, and knowing how you communicate better helps you understand how you interpret information from others. So we have the 4 main ones are passive, passive aggressive, aggressive, and assertive. So some of these terms you may be familiar, because a lot of people use passive aggressive, sometimes incorrectly. But passive aggressive
I'm not down with that.
no, but the other ones people don't really tend to know about. So basically, we're talking about communication styles, knowing your style, and then also just kind of getting an understanding of how to communicate with others, be it with business, friendships, relationships. It might be a key as to why you're having certain communication barriers with people. And then after that, leading from the conversation of communication into love languages, because conversation is very key when it comes to love languages as well, because that's something you also need to know about yourself. So that's the topics that we have tonight. And so let's kind of go into the communication part of it. Oh, hold on. We have a comment real quick. She says, oh, Queen B, my apologies. Queen B says, I know I'm all over the place, but passive and passive aggressive can be I can be a slight bitch when I want to be. So I'm glad you said that, because most people can be more than just one. I know I myself, because I study, applied behavioral analysis as well as communication. So I know myself that I can maneuver through the 4 as needed based upon who it is that I'm talking to, because I can recognize certain triggers in their speech and what it is that they say. So that's not uncommon to be more than just one. So to kind of get into just a small, brief description of all 4, I'm not going to go into deep, but more passive individuals. Passive is kind of like those who are very indirect with their communication. They oftentimes can be accommodating, like supremely accommodating. Like there's nothing that really bothers them. They're very easy, go with the flow, whatever it is that you want. People list them as laid back. That's more of that laid back, nonchalant, don't really care. Those are passive communicators, where they never really voice their opinions, so it's quite easy for people to never consider their feelings or opinions about anything because they never discuss them. Which is not inherently good, because that kind of leads into them not speaking up for themselves whenever something does go wrong, and that kind of leads into blow ups later and everything else like that. So those are people who just kind of like to keep the peace all the time. So again, that may not be you 100% of the time, but there may be that way. You may be that way with certain people in your life. I know I'm like that with some of my family members, more so like my older family members that are very headstrong. I'm just like, okay, like, okay, whatever you say, okay, as long as you feel better, okay. I also know that I can kind of get like that when I'm done with a conversation. So if I'm arguing with somebody and they're just debating and they're not getting my point and they just want to keep, going at it, which is one of these other communication styles, I will just be like, all right, you know what? You got it. Fine. I'm wrong. You're right. Bye. So, so I know I can kind of slip into that. And so it's like, so that's the passive one. Then we're going to go into aggressive. So aggressive is very much just very demanding, eye contact, controlling, like threatening, attacking, kind of like, I'm right, you're wrong, whatever I say goes. It doesn't matter what you say, I'm right, everything is your fault. Those are the aggressive communicators. And I personally don't I don't respond well to these types of communicators because I feel like there has to be some type of personal accountability.
I have a question.
Of course.
Narcissistic. That's not a communication style.
Well, so no, because narcissism manifests in different ways, and with narcissists, because they feel like they're the pinnacle of perfection, they're more manipulative. So they may use the next one, which is the more passive aggressive communication style. They may utilize that a little bit more, and if the passive aggressive communication style doesn't work, that's when they kick into the aggressive style.
Okay.
Because they still want to prove their point. So that's why I was saying with some people it can be different and can fluctuate. So we can actually go into passive aggressive. So passive aggressive people communicate in a way that is inherently frustrating to me personally, because it's like you have that aggressive tone, but it's passive as well. So I don't know if you ever had a conversation with somebody and you're like, oh, well, I want to do something this way. And their response is, okay, well, you can do it that way if you want to, I guess, but it's not going to work. That's a passive aggressive statement. Or you can do it that way, but I could do it better. Or I know of a better way. Or I don't think you should do that. Like they always follow up with that statement as in, oh, okay, yeah, sure, but and kind of add that piece to it. So their style of communicating is very passive aggressive, just not direct at all. And just kind of around about the way they use phrases like, I'm sure we can do things your way. And then they kind of mumble off to themselves, but my way would be better. And this is stupid. You ever heard someone who'll say something like I think, the older generation used to call them backhanded compliments.
Right.
That's basically how a passive aggressive person kind of communicates. They'll say something really nice and immediately follow it up with something negative.
Ouch.
So they can kind of deny it when you get offensive, like, oh, why are you getting offensive? What's going on with you? So so that's kind of like where that kind of comes from. And then the last one is assertive. This, I think, me personally, is the way I prefer to communicate in business, friends, or whatever. And this is the kind that I kind of link into myself. Is they use a lot of I statements, direct contact. They say things and they kind of express their feelings, but they also take into account other people's feelings. So their statements are more like, if we're trying to do something together, they're more trying to compromise a lot. So using compromising statements, saying, okay, well, this is what I prefer. Like, I know this is what you like. How can we do this together? Or what are some other options that we can put? Or I respect your opinion and the rights of others. So let me go ahead. Let's try to work this out. So these are how assertive people kind of use this. It's like they're not shy about telling you how they feel. If they're frustrated with something, they're going to tell you, hey, what you did frustrates me. Or instead of doing the blaming, it could be, I'm frustrated when you do this. So these are people that are very good with expressing their emotions and being able to tell people exactly how they feel without attacking the other person for what they did or may not have done. So those are the kind of the 4 different ways of communicating. So knowing that about yourself and how other people communicate can best help you understand how to exchange with another person, especially like in your relationship. If you're in a relationship with somebody who is a more assertive communicator, then okay, well, they're assertive communicators, so I need to be that way with them. I need to be upfront, tell them exactly how I feel. If you're dealing with somebody who's passive, who doesn't really talk about their feelings, you have to kind of assert yourself with them and be like, no, I need you to tell me. I need you to speak to me and tell me what it is that you want. I need a
I ain't
decision.
got time for all that. I'm sorry.
I mean, some people don't.
I don't have time for all of that. I just don't. I don't have time to be trying to get something out of you. You know what I'm saying? You need to, and I'm trying to kind of put myself where I was, because I know I'm kind of straightforward. So people tend to call me an asshole because I'm straightforward. And I would tell them, don't you rather I be straightforward than you try to figure out how I feel or what I feel about this situation? So because I always say, don't ask me something you don't want to know the answer to, because I'm gonna be direct and straightforward with it. So I don't really know where that style fit, because I don't have time to avoid a situation to avoid your feelings. So I'm gonna tell you what it is so you could deal with it right then and there, because I'm the type of person where I feel when you communicate with somebody, you should never take away that person's option in how to deal with whatever it is you're communicating with them. I don't feel like making a choice for you. So I give you choices. I tell you how I feel, but it's basically up to you on how you're gonna take it. But I'm very direct. And a lot of people say I'm mean or I'm an asshole, but I'm very direct. And sometimes I try not to be so direct, and I try to think, because as I got older, I try to think a little bit, but sometimes shit still just come up and come out.
Right.
So what would that be? Just
So that would still be assertive. So direct communicator, assertive communicator, that's what that falls in line with. And that's why I said, now that because you know that about yourself, that in certain situations, you have to have somebody that can match that as well. So you wouldn't do well or communicate well with someone who's passive, because passive, they're kind of just go with the flow. So it's kind of, or definitely not with someone who's passive aggressive, because they appear to be go with the flow, but then they also have that aggressive tone with it. So you'll know that, okay, well, wait a minute. And you can kind of figure things out with the person. But like Dustin Wright says, it says, let the other person finish what they're saying without interruption helps too. Yes, absolutely. Yes. Clear communication, definitely, because
I used to struggle with that, but he's right. I'm serious. I used to struggle with that, especially if you came and you start, and I would cut you off. I used to, struggle with the listening part. It depends on the situation, though. Sometimes it depends. I take that back. It depended on the situation, and it depended on the person. If you started a conversation with me at like I heard, then
okay,
I'm gonna cut you off. It depends on it. Like, but if I'm at work and somebody's saying something, I try to listen, but sometimes still I'll be like, nah. But yeah, that's the listening part is very, very important, because sometimes when we don't listen to what the other person is saying, we jump to conclusions before we allow them to say exactly what it is they're saying. And text is not a good way to communicate. Text is so interpretation, because they might not mean it a certain way, but you're gonna read it to your understanding. So if it's something really important, you need not use text.
Yes. Now, I never encourage important conversations through text message. But to back up your earlier point about the communication part, is like, that's what I was saying about the direct or assertive versus the passive, because then you have passive people kind of go around the subject. So then when they're trying to talk to you, they kind of dance around what they're talking about. People who are more assertive or aggressive don't like that. They like you to get straight to the point. Tell me what it is that you got to say and be done.
I'm assertive.
So that's where those clashes happen. So if you ever wonder where you're speaking or communicating with someone, that's a real thing. So if we go back to the comments, like Queen Bee says, she says, many people get frustrated with me. I try to be kind at all times. I don't like to intentionally hurt feelings. So I give soft replies and then go home and let what I really feel and have my feeling emotional or withdrawn. I know that this is not the best way, but I'm a work in progress. I lean more towards passive because I know a darker side is in me and I haven't been able to find balance. I fear blacking out and clearing the block. Girl, very, very much. I definitely think being self aware and understanding that is the first step, and working on that. But what I don't want you to do, and which is much easy for people to do who are very passive in their speech, is to completely just drop what their feelings are and completely become over accommodating to others. Because that's just as toxic to me.
Please, yeah, that's just as toxic.
I feel like that's just as toxic to me because you're doing yourself a great disservice. There are ways to get your feelings and expressions across without being, and then you also have to think of it too, not everybody's gonna like you have what you have to say. That's just gonna be a part of life. Regardless of what you say, you could say it in the nicest way possible. Some people are still just gonna be offended, and that's something for them to deal with and not for you. Like that's their healing that they have to do. That's their trigger, that's their trauma. That has nothing to do with you. You need to be able to say what you have to say. And if you're with a person or communicating with a person that won't allow you to do that, that's a problem. You should be able to say what it is that you have to say, even if it is, again, in the nicest way possible. You still have to take care of that stuff for you. How they feel about what you said is them. They have to deal with that, not you.
I agree with you. I totally agree with what you just said. The worst thing you could do is not express your feelings, because then you hold all that in. It could cause depression, stress, and yeah, that's not good. And if you have someone, friends, in relationship with somebody, they shouldn't want you to do that. Because if you holding all these feelings in, and then you get to that breaking point, then you might black out or something because you holding everything in. And I was quiet, like I talk now, like I'm surprised as much talking as I do. And my best friend Cookie and them, they would tell you growing up, I would talk to her, but I was like very particular in who I talked to. So people would say stuff and I wouldn't say anything. I'd just be like, whatever. My thing was I just walk away. I just walk away from people. So a lot of times I walked away from people because I did that. I didn't, at that moment, I just said, okay, well, I'm not going to say nothing. This is how they feel. It is what it is. And I held back how I felt. And then I just walked away from the person. Then maybe years later we talking and I tell them, then they be like, oh, wow, really? I just stopped talking. I used to just cut you off. If you was doing certain things that I did not like, you certain buttons and you push, and I'll be like, okay, I'm just not gonna deal with the person. So I probably lost some good friends behind it, but it is what it is. It was a learning process, but I definitely used to just walk away from people. You pissed me off one too many times and I tried to talk to you, you ain't want to listen. I'm done. I was just like, okay, I'm done. I'm not talking to you no more. And that would be the end of it. So it's really good. You really need to be with somebody where you can express who you are. You need that outlet. You need that outlet.
And then even with then, it's not inherently bad to walk away and take a breather either. You just have to make sure you come back. Like that's it. Like
see, I was thinking
walk away. You gotta make sure you come back and talk about it.
You pissed me off. I was one of those people. Like right now on my Facebook show, I looked at it the other day. I had forgot all about the block button because I got older, so I kind of like stopped blocking people. But when I was just happened to come across it, do y'all really want to know the number of people? I would just block people because I'd be like, okay, you're an asshole, block. Okay, you got issues, block. Okay, I'm not finna deal with your shit, block. I blocked probably, I think, over 300 people. I haven't blocked anybody lately, but anybody that just came off as an asshole, I just blocked them because I just had them in my mind. If you're an asshole, I'm not gonna deal with you, and I'm an asshole. But if you're an asshole, see, assholes don't like assholes, but assholes don't like assholes.
I appreciate that. So, and I'm definitely one at
I'm
times.
definitely an asshole, and assholes don't like assholes.
But I mean, but
We
it's
bump heads.
well, yeah, of course. But but the coming back part I think is important because I had to learn that, like, I used to be very much like that, like very dismissive, like, you know what, bye, bye, I'm out. But then I had to think about it. That's not really serving a purpose, because to me, how I think about it is like, I need you to know why I don't fuck with you no more, so that way in the
Okay.
future, like, there's no misunderstandings, you know where I stand with you, and so there's no surprise if I don't, if I see you out and about and I don't say anything to you. There's no surprise if we're at an event somewhere and I don't come and do that, hey girl, give you that hug and how you been. There's no surprise when none of that happens, because you know where I stand. So that's just something for me personally. I need you to know where I stand with you. I need to know where I stand with you as well, because then I don't have to waste time being nice or considerate or anything if we've gotten to this point where we're not friends, like we're not cordial. That's fine.
Right. Now, in those situations, I have expressed to some people. I had somebody that I was friends with. We was friends for about 10 years, and we're no longer friends now, but she's very much aware as to why we are not and why we could not be friends again. But I do believe in long-term friends, because my friends usually turn into family, not always blood. So I do have friends that I from childhood, from grade school. Most of my close friends I've been knowing for 20, 30, 40 years. So yeah, so I do believe in that. But that one particular individual, and I told her, I wish you well or whatever, but you're not good for my life. So, and you doing a bunch of stuff that's gonna get just not good. So yeah, she and I like my freedom.
Right.
I wasn't doing anything illegal, but when it comes to the police, they don't care. You guilty by association.
Absolutely.
So I had to discontinue that friendship with that individual, because you asking me to come pick you up from Walmart, and I'm sitting out here waiting for you to come out of Walmart, and you ain't here stealing.
Oh yeah.
So it was that type of situation. You in here and stealing. So guess what? When you come out, you get in my car and they follow you out there to my car, they're not gonna know that I wasn't a part of what you just did. So it was like little things like that she was doing. And I told her, as a friend, why would you even put me in that situation or endanger my life? You took away my option. I'm not a thief, so I wasn't gonna be a part of it. But the fact that you going in these places in the mall and you going with me and we out together and you stealing, and they see us to coming together, leaving together, like guilty by association. And it's probably some people that have ended up in jail and doing time just for being in the wrong place at the wrong time. And that's pretty much it. I know a young man that ended up serving, I think he did like 7-8 years in jail for involuntary manslaughter. He just happened to be with his friend. He's sitting outside wiping off his car, his rims or whatever at the car, and his friend and went in there and beat the girl, beat up the baby mama or something. And yeah, and the police came because somebody called the friend and ran out the door. He's still in the back, but he still, nevertheless, he ended up in jail.
Wow.
So yeah, people, when a person that's your friend is not going to put you in danger, first of all.
Right.
They going to tell you, because you got that friend that's going to tell you. Then you have those friends that do bogus shit, and they're going to do bogus shit with that bogus friend. So you have to know what friend to do what with. And this particular person did not know what friend to do what with. And so she did that, and she came and she like, pull off. I'm like, hold on a minute. I'm trying to drink my coffee. She like, man, nigga, pull off. I'm like, I'm sitting here still trying to figure out why she telling me to pull off. So finally, I pull off. She started pulling shit up out her clothes. I'm like, what the fuck? Like, what if they got my license plate? I'm not going there. So after that, it was a done deal. But I told her, nah, I can't. She was like, man, you ain't going to jail, nothing. Nah, I can't do you.
No.
So, yeah. But anyway, that was a little bit off track, but back to the communication part. And communication is not only an intimate relationship, is
Right.
you have different communication styles with different family members, how you communicate, you know, communicate at work. You have some coworkers that will come to you and they will say, hey, look, I need assistance with this, or yesterday you were supposed to complete this and you didn't do it. And then they'll come to you and they'll talk to you. Then you got the other one to know you fucked up some shit, and they'll wait till your boss standing there, and then they'll say, yeah, yesterday you fucked up that shit. I guess that's that passive aggressive person.
Yeah.
I tried to fix it, but I couldn't. You made a lot of mistakes, and I was trying to fix it, but I didn't know how to fix it. And you look at them like, motherfucker, shit.
Right.
So yeah, this is gonna lead a little bit over into love languages as well. Love language is also a form of communication, because there are 5: physical touch, words of affirmation, acts of service, receiving gifts, and quality time.
Yeah.
So I did take a quick quiz that I had posted on my Facebook page. I don't know if anybody else decided to take it or not, but mine was quality time. Just from taking the quiz, it said that my love language was quality time, and it is me. I'm all about time, spending time in because I feel like if you take time out your entire busy day from whatever you're doing and you say, hey, let's go chill, let's go out and have a cup of coffee, or you just take out your time to call me on the phone, then I'm quality. That makes me feel good. That makes me feel like, oh damn, we cool.
Right.
I don't need the gifts, I don't need all of that. But if you just want to talk to me, you just want to hang out with me, like I like hanging out. COVID stopped a lot. It slowed down a lot of stuff, but yeah, mine is quality time, because when you spend a quality time, for me, it builds memories.
Right.
And memories for me last longer than any physical gift that somebody could give you. Most times somebody give you a physical gift, you might say, oh, it's cute, da da da, you stuck to it right then and there. But somewhere down the line, if you lose that tie they gave you, that might have been the shit at the moment. If you wear the tie one time and misplace the tie, you're not gonna ever think about that tie again.
Mm-mm.
But like me and my Les boys, my models, it's been 10 years, 11 now, because we started in 2009. And even now to this day, we'll get on the phone and we'll start talking about, we was talking about Pride of 2010 in Atlanta. Man, every single time we talk about that Pride, we laugh so hard as if it just happened. We be in tears just talking about and sharing memories of things that we've done in the past. So for me, quality time is my love language, because I like, building memories. It's like, so, when something happened, people could sit back and they could laugh and talk about, the good times. We talk about the bad, the bad stuff that happened too. But like I said, if and y'all will get a feel for that on Shot City Cafe. Shot City Cafe is my Les Elegance family. They've been with me since I kicked it off in 2009. And I'm telling y'all, so just embrace yourself. We was going to do it tonight, but it's looking like we might not kick that off until next Sunday. But when I'm telling y'all, we got some stories that, man, they're hilarious. I mean, every time, especially Pride 2010. I don't know who got the Pride of 2010 in Atlanta, but when I say that was the best fucking Pride ever, I mean, that entire weekend from the beginning, I mean, it was hilarious. It was just crazy, like crazy. We were supposed to do this fashion show. We end up not doing the fashion show. The person who wanted us to do the fashion show, she wanted to get the females. She wanted to put the females in this hotel. Wasn't even on the same side of the town as we was gonna be in. She wanted the Les boys to come stay at the house with her and her females, and we was with her. We was like, what are y'all doing? We want to go to a hotel. It was crazy. Oh, it was that's some stories. We got some stories to really tell y'all. So I would say quality time for me, and a little bit of words of affirmation as well. If I'm fucking up, tell me I'm fucking up, but don't just tell me I'm fucking up. Right. If you're my friend and you see I'm doing something Be proud. Say, yo, you got that promotion at work. That's what's up. Don't be that friend where you in competition with your friend. Don't be that person. We got them out there, and sometimes people unconsciously they just can't help it. But I'm gonna say quality time. That's what I would have said even before I took the quiz. So I don't know, Tiffany. Oh, I'm calling you Tiffany. I'm looking on I'm sorry. I'm looking on here. I'm sorry, y'all. Y'all got this Facebook thing. I'm trying. Okay. Do apologize.
No. So I have a part 2 to that question. So because I believe in duality and people things. So how you receive love is quality time, or how you perceive it. How do you give it? Is it the same way?
It's the same way, but intimate relationships, it's both quality time and physical touch. And it's kind of physical. Well, I take that back. It's physical touch too, because like my cousins, I had this girl I was dating one time. She was kind of irritated because she was like, why you and your cousins always hugging and kissing on each other? So I was like, cuz we family. What's wrong with that? But she didn't understand, because she didn't come from a family where there was physical touch and hugging and affection. So it kind of bothered her how affectionate I was with my cousin she had met. And it also bothered her with the Les boys, some of my Les Elegance family, because you would see us hugging, and that's how we show. It's a picture of Mr. I call my son, she's like my child. That's my baby. I love her to death. It's a picture when we did the magazine release party, and we had it, and the photographer, we was talking, he caught us off guard, and I was talking to her about something, and she said something, and I said, I love you, and I kissed her. So the individual at the time was kind of irritated. She's like, y'all two studs. I say, first of all, I'm not a stud. I don't identify as a stud. I'm a woman, and so is she. But that's how we hug each other. We tell each other we love each other. My friends, so it's both physical touch and quality time.
Okay. Yeah. So Queen B says she thinks hers is active service, but she says she's going to take the test again. So that's interesting that you say acts of service, because I know mine are quality time as well and acts of service. As far as both giving and receiving love, because quality time I think is very important, very intentional when you think about people. And I like, just spending quality time. Even if we're in the same room, we might not be engaging with each other, but as long as that other person's in the room, like those type of things are really nice. I appreciate it. And then going to acts of service, because I like to be helpful, and because I'm also a woman of many talents, so I got a lot of things going on. It's really nice to have somebody that's intentional as well, that can be like, oh, come in and be like, oh yeah, you did have a long day at work. I'm gonna go ahead and cook dinner so you don't have to worry about it. Or, oh, I just went ahead and, oh, I remember you telling me that you needed a new planner, so when I was out at the store the other day, I bought you one. Or it doesn't even have to be anything monetary. It could just be simple as in, oh, well, I know you have to hurry up and rush to go get ready. Let me take care of this while you're doing that. That way you don't have to worry about it. That to me is very nice, because that to me it's like, oh, you're thinking about me. Because I'm that way. I'm very much of, oh, well, I remember things about people that's wild. We could have a conversation about it once and have a 10-year friendship. And because you mentioned it once, it's always going to stay in my mind. I'm going to remember it. So that, and later on, I'll recall it. You might get it as a Christmas present one day, or something else will happen. So those are the two that and I think it's important for couples, as well as, like you said, friends, family, to understand what your love languages are, how you give love, how you receive love, and other people as well. Because then, like somebody, like what you were saying in your example, that particular person is not a fan of personal touch. So she doesn't need to be in a relationship with anybody who is like that, who's clingy. I'm not going to say clingy, because a lot of people put a negative connotation to clingy, but like someone who's very affectionate. She has to be with an individual who's not very affectionate, because then it won't balance out.
And it's funny that you say that, because a lot of people do, some people do sometimes misinterpret an affectionate person for a clingy person.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's very, those two things are very often given the same meaning, and they are not the same. A clingy person is a person who needs to follow you everywhere and be with you 24/7. A clingy person, if you leave their sight and you go into the store, they texting you saying, what are you doing? A clingy person is always hollering me, and so that is totally different from being affectionate. Affectionate person basically is a hugger, a kisser, that
Right.
Like that is physical touch. It's two totally different things. That, and you know, a lot of times people say cancers, that's my zodiac sign, because I also posted that earlier. They say cancers are clingy and crazy and all that. So I had posted the question earlier, is it really the person's sign that is it really the person's sign? Like when you say I'm never dating a person again, was it really that person's sign, or was it just their way of communicating in the love language? Just y'all love language and y'all communication didn't meet up.
Right.
So I don't know. So I asked that question a lot too, because
I mean, a lot of people.
One sign I wouldn't date again, but
what sign would that be?
Pisces.
Well, it doesn't matter because you're married, but like, okay, I can see that. I can.
But even prior to getting married, if somebody told me if a woman said to me she was a Pisces, it was like shut down. But then for me, because I'm a spiritual person, I read energy. So your energy introduced itself to me before anything. Your representative, I don't care. I'm reading energy. So you could sit there and you could present your representative all day and be this particular person, but I tend to see past that.
Right.
So I just sense certain things, and I just say, you're a Pisces, ain't you? She'd be like, yeah, well, okay, we can't talk no more. We could be friends, but we can't talk no more.
That's funny.
Yeah. But Scorpios, I'm married to a Scorpio, and I was kind of shocked that I married the Scorpio, even though that is the sign that I dated the most throughout. You know, when I first person I dated was a Scorpio. The second person I was with was a Scorpio. Then I ended up in a 10-year relationship with a Gemini. Then I went to Libra, won't do a Libra again. But then everybody everybody after that, I want to say, it seemed like every single woman I kept meeting over the course leading up to me getting married was a Scorpio, except for the one Pisces that I'm not gonna date. But they were all Scorpios, and it's just weird, because I had a friend tell me, you're gonna end up with a Scorpio, because that's all I attract for whatever reason. But Scorpios' love language is acts of service. It is. They cook for you, they'll clean, they'll do all of that. They are very domestic, even though some of them say they not. Their love language is acts of service.
Right. And I think that's an interesting point that you pose when it comes to like zodiacs and different things, or if it doesn't work out. I am personally, I'm not quick to be like, oh, all zodiac signs are like this, unless there is sufficient evidence to the contrary. Now, my experience with cancers, I know you. My father is one. He's July 4th. And I can honestly say he is not a super emotional individual at all, in the least. But I mean, that also could be because he's a man, a black man at that. So, you know, there's issues culturally with that. But yeah, I'm not quick to do that. But that also may be because of my zodiac sign, because I'm a Gemini. So people always have crazy stuff to say about us. And I just kind of let them have it. But I think it's important. No.
Gemini.
That's why I said, like, I get it. Yeah,
Gemini is an act of service, and my Gemini was physical touch and quality time, and she was like a combination, but it was kind of hard to tell, because one personality was like acts of service, then the other personality was like, but she was a good woman, but
You don't have to go into detail.
I know I spent 10 years with the woman, so I had to spend 10 years with her for something. Because
Right.
Geminis are not real quick to tell you stuff either. When I go back about options, Geminis are into sparing people's feelings.
That is an issue that we have.
To a certain extent, when they're with somebody, they will spare the person, and they do it in a way where when they answer the question, it doesn't seem like they're lying to you. It's it's a way that they communicate it to you where you believe what they're saying, even though you know, like in your gut, like nah, but you'll go with it because you'll go with it. So that's how my Gemini was. But like I said, hers was at acts of service 10 years, and I would have dated another Gemini. It's just I didn't meet another Gemini after her. Like she was the only I was in the service when I met her, and after that I didn't meet another Gemini. For whatever reason, I kept attracting Scorpios.
Yeah, and there are certain aspects of our personality that does. We are very like calculating. Like I know myself, I'm not manipulative in nature at all, but I am very calculating when I speak, so that you understand what I'm saying when I say it. So I get that. Let me go to the comment. So Queen Bee said, "I appreciate all aspects of the love languages, but I say acts of service for the same reasons you stated. I need someone to be intentional about what they do. I don't like cookie cutter gifts and cliche words. As far as touch, I need to be intellectually attracted to my partner before I want to be physically intimate with them in any capacity." And she said, "I haven't learned all the characteristics for each sign, but the few I have encountered have lived up to what I've read." But see, also because I study astrology and I'm also a spiritual individual, I also understand and recognize that, honestly speaking, if you look at an individual's natal chart, their sun sign is not even what determines their personality. So, like, it's more than just what their sun sign is. You got to look at their moon sign. You got to look at their rising. If you want to know how they communicate, you need to see what sign is in Mercury. If you want to know how they love, what sign is in Venus. Like, it gets deep if you want to go down that road. So that's why me personally, I'm not quick to be like all this or this, unless there's proven evidence. Like in your innate distance from Pisces is the same way I feel about Virgos. So I'm like kind of like nah. Like, I could really like somebody, and as soon as I see they're Virgo, I'm like, oh, never mind. Like
Virgos can be very depending on how you're dealing with them. They can come off a little bit narcissistic.
Mm-hmm.
It depends on how, if you're dealing with them professionally or intimately. They are arrogant though.
Mm-hmm.
They are very arrogant individuals. Yeah.
So and mine,
I can feel you on that because I've dated a couple. They sweethearts, like they would give you their last. They would do for you. They would give you their last. But yeah, they what their communication style? What would I say their communication style?
In my experience, because I've dated three. Well, I was in a relationship with two, and then immediately before and after those two, I was in a situationship with the same one. So I had three of them, and all three of them, two of them were very aggressive, and then the other one was passive aggressive. So they kind of maneuvered in there as far as their communication style, and it was just. It's just I can't like I just know what I can handle and I can't handle. I can't handle it. I just won't. And like I said, I try not to judge people by their signs. But like I said, I have sufficient research studied evidence that it doesn't matter if it is in August or September. Virgo both of them are crazy and both of them are not. But the same to that, that's romantically, because my baby sister, she's a Virgo. I love her to death. I wouldn't go as far as say she's my favorite sister, even though she kind of is. Um, I love her to death though. I have friends that are Virgos that are we are excellent friends, no issue. I just know intimately, never.
Right. And that's how I am with Pisces. My cousin growing up, we the same age, call each other twin cousins. Her and I, yeah, we are like the best friends. She do anything for me. I have Pisces that are friends. We get along great, but it was just trying to be in a relationship with that one. It did not work because they tend to live double lives, but that's another story.
Definitely talk about
That's
that.
another situation or story we could talk about later.
Mm.
But everybody and yeah, I can't. But Virgos, yeah, they're a little crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, like I said, I have some really good friends that are that I love them to death. I just know from me and mine in my household, no, not romantically whatsoever.
Yeah,
Um,
I had a situationship with one, but it was we were like really good friends. We were cool. Um, but
yeah. I mean, it is what it is. I'm sure there's people that say that about Geminis as well. Because I hear that a lot. They be like, "Oh, you a Gemini? You crazy? You this and that." I'm like, okay, well, that's nice that you can tell me about me. So that's why I don't always get on people when it comes to signs and sticking to it, because again, if that's your experience, that's your experience. But understand and know that it's not just as simple as that. But Queen Bee comments again. She's like, I need to have a deep conversation with you. I've read a few things here and there, but my head starts spinning. I'm a Pisces and live up to all of the traits. I can't be a good girl gone bad real quick. And you know what is so funny about that is because for Pisces, at least in me, I have a really, really good friend who's a Pisces. Me and her cool. We understand each other, and it's cool. My last relationship was with a Pisces, and it was not good, like at all, to the point where I'm like, yeah, I don't know. I don't know about Pisces. They still on the fence. I can't completely discount them all because I just had that one romantic relationship. But yeah, that good girl gone bad. But of course, I take it as that individual also had other underlying issues that they were dealing with and still are. So I can't necessarily say it's because of the sign. I really am just assigning it to that individual. Not gonna blame everybody.
right,
But that's why it's so important to know love languages, so you know who you're dealing with and how they receive love, because like we were saying, with the if for somebody who's affectionate, or we can just give an example of quality time. If my love language is quality time, but you're always busy and you never make time for me, and that's going to present a problem. And if you're the type of person that don't see the value in quality time, then we're going to constantly bump heads. We're going to, it's going to be frustrating. It's going to be a really bad relationship because you don't see the value in something that I do. And that's going to present a problem, because no matter how long somebody pretends like it doesn't bother them, eventually it's going to come to head.
right, exactly.
So that's why it's important to have these tough conversations, even if it gets, slightly heated. You should be able to, as an adult, communicate with someone and say, hey, these are the things that I need. What is it that you need? And then that goes also back to your conversation about making a choice, because if we have this communication, you let me know. Say, for example, I'm not an affectionate person. I can be, but if, let's just say I'm not, but the person I'm interested in is. If you're telling me up front that, hey, I'm an affectionate person, I like affection, I need that to feel validated, that allows me to make the decision whether or not I want to try to give that to you or leave
Hmm.
the situation, because I know that's not something that I like. But if you don't tell me this, Or if we have this conversation much later after we done had all these different fights, that decision was taken away from me. So, like, if you're somebody who doesn't do quality time, or if you're not a very thoughtful and intentional person, being with somebody who requires acts of service, that can be a really big blow up, because to that acts of service person, you could come off as being selfish and inconsiderate and self centered and all these other really bad things.
Mm-hmm.
So, it's very important to know not only who you are, but also who you're dealing with.
And this is true. That is so very true. So what I'm doing over here is I was trying to, because every week here on Coffee Talk, and thanks everyone for tuning in. We do the confirmations of the beautifully broken. It's a segment, and I was trying to find the flyer. Should have had it up already. And what confirmations of the beautifully broken is just saying, is basically a segment about, how everybody is everybody, we are all broken in some type of way. So I kind of wanted it to be to where people could come on and share their stories and broken. And I was seeing a video today. I was on IG, and the young lady was talking about how people saying they need somebody to love them for them. And she was like, how can you ask somebody to love you for you when you don't love you for you?
Exactly.
That, and you can't demand of someone else to give you something that you're not giving for yourself. And I couldn't agree with her 100%, because
Absolutely.
we so often go into relationships looking for this other person to heal us and to make us feel a certain way. And we place our happiness in other people's hands and hold them responsible for making us happy.
Right.
And at the end of the day, you have to be happy within you. And then that other person do what makes them happy. Then you're supposed to come together and share your happiness, as Will Smith so put it about him and Jada's relationship. They was talking on the Red Table Talk. He was like, he wasn't responsible for her happiness, and she wasn't responsible for his. That as an individual, you're supposed to be able to maintain your own happiness, and then you come together and you share that happiness with your partner or your friends and your family. But your friends, your family, your partner is not responsible for your happiness. So I thought that was real interesting, and that kind of falls under being beautifully broken, because you have so many people walking around that appear to be happy, that's really broken on the inside and not happy, and they're looking for someone else to take on that responsibility of making them happy. But how am I gonna make you happy when I don't know when you don't know what makes you happy?
Exactly.
So that's my little quote today on the beautifully broken, the confirmations of the beautifully broken. You have to take care of self first. You can't take care of other people if you're not taking care of self first. You have to love self. You have to know what your love language is in order to communicate to other people what your love language is. Same thing with your communication style. Like Brittany was saying earlier, a passive aggressive person is gonna bump heads with what you said, an assertive person. Bump heads because they going around it, and an assertive person is directly to the point. And I'm trying to get patient with with those people that they take you from A to Z just when they could have told you a B or C.
Right.
So sometimes, and that's where my I fell short in the listening part, because I'm sitting up here like, if you don't get to the point, if you don't get, and I remember my boss one day, it was a male individual he was saying something, he just kept going on and on and on and on, and I'm looking at him, I'm like, dude, when you get to the point, you tell me. I mean, he wanted to say I pulled up to the stop sign, 5 cars drove by, then I made a left, then I came to a red light and I made a right. An old lady with a shopping cart crossed the street. Yeah, she was wearing this. She had a cane. She had 5 bags in her. What do that have to do with what you telling me? Hold on. I'm getting there. So then I went up about 2 miles, and then when I went up 2 miles, and I was making a left turn, and I didn't see the medium there. So the individual had hit a mailbox, but instead of him just saying when he was made this left turn on street A, he didn't, he failed to look in the mirror and he hit this mailbox. He wants to take me from when he pre-tripped his bus, came down the street. I don't need to know all of that. I just need to know what happened right there. So he went to
the people.
Yeah, he just didn't get to the point, and I'm like, get to the point. So I was like, you know what, just write it out. And when you get to the point, then I come back. I got to go. So the individual got upset. So then my other male boss came in. He was like, he just shook his head. Like, So the 3 of us talking, and dude still whining. He just still going on. But no, dude, that ain't had nothing to do with you hitting this curve. Man up, get to the point. My boss was like, oh, you can't tell a man to man up. But it was just like
split into that aggressive
get to the point. And I say that to say that sometimes people feel that just because they're a man, that they are assertive, that a male cannot be passive or passive aggressive, and that is not true.
Right.
Because I deal with passive aggressive men. Have dealt with and still dealing with. So I want to be clear that passive aggressive people always want to put women in that category, and that's not always true. You have passive aggressive men as well. All men are not assertive and take charge and directly to the point. You do have passive men out here. You do have women that are more aggressive and assertive than the male. Dominates the males. Males are not always the stronger species. Maybe physically, but mentally, they're not always the strongest. They can be passive aggressive as well. But yeah, you have to really, like I said, like we was talking about on the last show, you have to know self. The most important thing, your love language, your communication skills, everything, all of that set the tone for everything. Knowing who you are, what you want, loving yourself, being confident in yourself, all that take precedence over everything. And a lot of times in the past, I used to sit there and, women, when I was dating prior to getting married, I had women be like, you an asshole. No, I ain't no asshole. I just know what I want and what I'm not going to tolerate. And if that makes me an asshole, then so be it. I'm a fucking asshole.
And that's what I think a lot of people kind of miss the mark on or miss the understanding, is that knowing self makes life infinitely easier, because you know what it is that you can handle and what you can't. So you're able to immediately remove yourself from situations that don't serve you. So, and that's not a bad thing. That doesn't, like I said, doesn't make you an asshole. It doesn't make you all of these things. Now, how you go about, executing might make you an asshole, but just knowing yourself and knowing where you are, what your triggers are, what, all of that makes life so much easier, because then you can set yourself up for success every time.
Right. And you definitely, want to do that, whether it be at work, whether it be an intimate relationship, family, and sometimes things at family, you have family members that haven't spoken to each other in years, and it's all because they just didn't know. It was all because of a communication issue.
Right.
It started with a communication issue, or individual, anything. It starts with that individual feeling a certain way and not knowing how to express it. And then they may bump heads with the other person because the other person, the same thing, don't know how to accept certain things, because you may have an assertive person that's going in on a passive person. And so the passive person goes into the shell, and now they all upset saying, this did that, and this person did that or that person did this. And
Mhm.
that goes back to a lot of relationships. So when somebody I know come to me and they broke up with somebody and they sit up here and they want to tell you everything that other person did. She or he did this. Oh, they was such a fucked up individual. They did this and then I always ask them, but at some point they had to do something right because you just spent several years with that person. If you put in 8, 9, 10 years with somebody, that individual couldn't have been as fucked up as you telling me right now because you just gave this person 10 years of your life. You just gave this person a year of your life. Prior to getting married, normally when if I'm dating somebody and I'm going out with them and I'm upfront with them, I communicated with them right then and there. I'm not looking for no relationship. This is not what it is. I'm taking care of me right now. Occasionally, I want some companionship. I want somebody to hang out with, do whatever, talk on the phone. But I was very upfront with now. I communicated that with them, but then you also have those people when you communicate and you say certain things to you that to them, they're not listening. They don't hear you. So they still want what they want.
Right.
So they will continue on whatever little journey or whatever they have set in their mind and then they get the feelings hurt.
But it's your fault.
Right. They still
Their fault.
want what they want. But at the end of the day, normally when relationships end, it's because of communication. It was communication because you couldn't communicate in that relationship because ain't no way you sat there and you just spent 5, 6 years with somebody and now this person is such a fucked up ass individual. I don't buy that because if they were so fucked up, why didn't you leave them 4, 5 years ago?
Right. And there's other outlying situations, of course. This doesn't fit every situation, but by and large, yes, I agree with that. And there's also one of those things where there's personal accountability because yes, this person may have been this way, but what were you?
Right.
Because it's cause and effect to everything. So I find it hard to believe unless it's just a completely trash ass person. But again, that goes back to your point. Well, why'd you stick around then if you know this person was a particular way? So definitely a part of that self is being accountable for when you fucked up. And be patient with yourself with it because in order to know what you do like, you have to first figure out what you don't. So you still got to be, patient and kind to yourself about it, but definitely take that ownership like, okay, yeah, this is where I misstepped. Cuz I'm like that when I am dating and people ask, "Well, what happened with the previous relationship?" The first things I'll say is what my culpability was in it. And then, because even if we're not together, regardless of how it ended, I'm not going to sit up here and bash the person because at one point they were very important to me. They
Exactly.
may not be now, but at one point they were. So I'm never going to sit up here and just completely, drag them through the mud because then that looks poorly on myself. But I've also had in communications and relationships where we both communicated very well and we both decided to part ways. So I rarely have I had any instances. The last ones were the ones where I had issues where we had to break up because of like some very serious things. But prior to that, usually it's just a conversation that we have and we decide to go our separate ways. So it's possible. It can happen. It can. But yes, I agree for the beautifully broken. That's definitely something that you have to maintain at all costs. I read something earlier today where a post by a woman she said that I don't in a relationship. I don't want to be your first priority. I want to be your second. Your first priority should always be you. Your dreams, your ambitions, your goals, your self-love, like your self-care. Your first priority should be you because I only want the best of you. And I can't get the best of you if you don't work on you.
Exactly.
That was really good. And I'm like, yes, that kind of goes and ties into what the beautifully broken is about because a lot of people in their relationships, they want their partner to be all about them. Whatever it is that I'm doing, you got to be there too. Especially people who are in industries like ourselves. We're doing with the arts. When you're poets and musicians and stuff, where we're having to do things a lot, and we're looking for partners that support us, it's quite easy for people to be like, oh, well, everything is about me. We need to concentrate on me, whatever it is I'm doing. You need to drop whatever it is that you're doing so that you can be attentive to me. And I think that is very bad. That is not, it's not balanced.
It's not balanced at all because you could support them, but just because you may not be able to be there 100%, 110% of the time like they want you to be, don't mean that you're not supporting them.
Right.
Sometimes you can't always be at the same place. That's like musicians. I'm quite sure every time Beyonce do a concert, Jay-Z not there, and that's why they are where they are. Every time Will Smith go make a movie, you think Jada Pickett there on the scene with him? Every movie he had made, no, because she has her life too. She has things that she needs to tend to, but just because she don't show up to every movie set does not mean she's not supporting them. Maybe that weekend she wanted to go out and have a spa day with her girls, and that's absolutely okay. That he's shooting Bad Boys this weekend and she's not sitting there watching him shoot Bad Boys. She wants to go spend the weekend in the Bahamas with her girlfriend. That is perfectly okay. Like, you don't have to be at every single thing, because then that started becoming to a communication of control.
Right.
And then when you start controlling a person and then wanting them to just support what you're doing, it also becomes frustrating for the other individual, because you need to allow that individual to support you in the way that they know how to support you. Don't tell them this is how you support me by doing XYZ.
Mm-hmm.
And XYZ don't mean every single time I go make a movie, you got to be right there on the set watching me do my movie. It's like, it might be okay every now and then, but that person needs to be out, tended to their life, doing what because I don't want somebody so engulfed in me and what I'm doing that they don't have their own life.
Right.
And a lot of times people get into relationships and that's what happens. And it happens real common in lesbian relationships. They get into these relationships. I had friends got into relationships. You think I saw them friends anymore? No, because everything was geared toward that relationship. It was all about them, that relationship, and what that girl wanted. They stopped going out. They stopped coming around. They just stopped. But me, I'm like, okay, that's who they are. That's fine. That's cool. We communicate still every now and then. We might talk, but that's just how it's just common. And I don't know about straight or heterosexual relationships, but I know it's very common in lesbian relationships. They get married or they get in these relationships. They be in these relationships. They freaking disappear. Everything becomes about they mate. They disappear. Then when they single, they pop back up and now they want to chill and be your friend again. And you looking at them like,
right,
okay, whatever. So, yeah. So when you get into these intimate relationships, it's very important to still remain an individual and do you. You could be together, but still be individuals. But yeah, that's a whole nother topic. But yeah, a lot of people in relationships and I take that back. I do know some straight females that do that. I do know some that do that as well. They get a man and they disappear. Because I have some straight female friends. They'll disappear on me. And when I ain't heard from them in a while, I'll be like, oh, she got a man.
That, you know what? Yeah, I have some friends that are like that.
Yeah. Oh, she got a man.
Fall off the face of the earth.
All off the face of the earth. They just forget about everything they had going on in their life. And their whole life revolves around that man or that woman. And then a couple of years later, the relationship is over because now they bored. They tired of just supporting them. And then when they want to do something, that individual is not so quick to support them like they supported them, because they, everything has been centered around them.
Right. But yeah, that's definitely another topic that we can have a whole show on, that type of stuff. Absolutely. Controlling individuals. I myself was in a relationship like that where they wanted everything, like even down to the friends that we hung out with was their friends. Never my friends. Like they didn't want me hanging around family. And it got to the point where it was just a lot. So I think we're definitely gonna have to table that because that's gonna be a good one for us to kind of go through. We can have a whole show on that one.
Definitely a whole show. But again, we appreciate all those that are listening. And if you have an opportunity, please go. Brittany, is there any way you could share our Coffee Talk social network site?
Here, let me pull it up and I can definitely do it.
And go on the site. Like I said, Black owned, I know, because my wife created it. Coffeetalk.com, and join our Coffee Talk social network. It's an open network, like we said. You're not limited as you are on Facebook now. It's not a lot of ads going on there, and we kind of like just trying to build that Black community back up to again. You know how we used to be on. We was laughing about Black Planet. I don't know what Black Planet is now. On there, it looked like a porn site.
Really? No.
Yeah,
Yeah,
the Japanese people or something on it. You go on there. I went on there one day because I still had my same login. I got on there. I seen all these little Chinese ladies. Not that I'm racist or nothing, y'all, but I just seen all these little things, and then some other foreign lady talking some.
Are you with the Black Planet?
I'm like, what is this? And I'm just so I got off it because it looked like some type of dating porn site like that.
They might have sold it.
Yeah, it's weird when I got on there. Then MySpace and turned into, I don't know what MySpace is now. That didn't last very long. Downy Link. I miss Downy Link though.
I do too. I miss Downy
Link. I did some shit on Downy Link, so I miss Downy Link.
Yo, shout out to Downy Link. I used to pimp on that site, bro.
Right. So I do miss Downy Link. That was the shit.
Yeah.
That was the shit. But yeah. And also we're gonna talk about Valentine's Day coming up. So I'm gonna share this one first right here, and then after we share this, we're gonna this is our social site. That right there is Brittany's page. And again, you go to coffeetalk.com. Coffee Talk Radio is just broadcasting and live shows. But go to coffeetalk.com and join. We moving up there. I see Brittany following 41 people, 5 posts.
Yeah, I'm going through, yep.
I see my aunt on there. We got Ami Brown on there. She did her show earlier, Random Acts of Healing with the Hood Doctor. If you missed that show, you could go back and check it out too. But yeah, see, it's pretty much a social site, pretty much similar but different. You don't have, you see, when you go in there, you ain't got all the ads going on. Oh, look, Queen B, she joined.
Yeah.
Thank you, Queen B.
Cutie, yes. So
I'm gonna follow you. So yeah, go on there and join it. If you see down the side, I'm trying to over there on the side where you could add pages, you could do a blog on here. We got articles, market where you can sell stuff, but it's not gonna overtake the feed like Facebook have. It's not like that. Then you got your products, you can explore events, forum, post jobs. So yeah, if you watching this, we will appreciate it if you go and join Coffee Talk over there. Become part of our network. Look at Brittany, follow her already. I gotta go there and follow. Yeah, we appreciate that. We appreciate that. Then we also, let me take this down. Brittany's gonna bring up Black Love. COVID Black Love. Let me not mess up the name. Let me not mess that up.
All right. Did you send it to me?
Go to it's on Facebook. It's on my page. If you go to my page, it's like the third post down.
Okay.
On my page and go down. It's like the third link down on my Facebook page. Okay. So we're gonna go to wait. Right. Why am I hearing myself? I'll put that one on my page.
Yeah, okay. So let me share this screen so I can.
So she's gonna share this, and this is a virtual Punany Poets show. You know, COVID, couldn't get out on the road. I missed them little road trips, don't you, Brittany? I missed them.
Yeah, I do. I do.
So you gotta go down some more. That's the test I was talking about. Right there. So that right there, click on there for me. That's Black Love on Lockdown. Love knows no fear. The Punany Poets Valentine Day weekend. Can you click on it, Brittany? It's the 13th, February 13th, I believe, if you're in Atlanta, and then if you're not in Atlanta, I believe the show is going to be February the 14th, but it's on my page, or you can go to the shops at ggb.com to get the tickets. And I'm glad that came up, because now I see over here where it says life events, the Visibility Club. Brittany and I also the logistics for doing the logistics for Norcross Pride, which I believe is going to be June 19th weekend. We're not quite sure yet, but as soon as we have confirmation on that, we will let you know. They trying to get that back up and moving this year, because like I said, we all know 2020 just was the year for us. But I have been going out and I've been seeing the world been pretty open. So I don't know if I'm just keeping my mama, the wife, and the 4-year-old baby and everybody in the house, because I took the baby out last week to the mall, was taking him out to get him a couple of shoes and stuff, and we went to South Lake Mall out in Morrow. Man, that mall was packed, and half of the people in there didn't have on masks. And then I'm a wait, let me go on and share this, and then I'm gonna come back right to that. There we go. Live in Atlanta, February 13th, on demand everywhere else, February 14th.
Yes, the Black Love on Lockdown. So, so definitely go in and get your virtual tickets. As you can see, it says on demand. It was $40, now $3. So make sure you go to the site, so that you can purchase your ticket. If you're not local to Atlanta, it is because we're social distancing. We want to make sure that everybody is safe. It's going to be a very small and intimate event. But it is definitely going to be one of those like raw, like events, which is the reason why we're doing it on demand, and it's not going to be broadcasted live and everything else like that, because there's some images that can't be posted on certain sites. So I'm not going to go too far there into that. You're just going to need to buy the ticket. You're just going to need to buy the ticket and do it. This is definitely a Punani experience. Miss Holter herself, as well as everybody that's involved, always show out for Valentine's Day. And I think it's very important that even though we had COVID and dealing with everything, the lockdowns in different cities, love is still love, and it's important. And I think this show is such an interesting take and very relevant take on the change and how people are showing love to each other, in the bedroom as well as out. So definitely make sure that if you're in Atlanta and you want to get the tickets, be able to reach out. But if you're not local to Atlanta, or even if you are but you can't come out, make sure you get that on-demand ticket.
Yeah, make sure you get the ticket. And Jessica also hosts her own show, interviews with Ghetto Girl Blue.
Yes.
So yeah, check out her shows as well when you get an opportunity to. But like Brittany said, this is gonna be something hot, so you might want to go on and get that ticket. It's only $3, That's cheaper than an Amazon movie.
Right. And like I said, so if you're here to Atlanta, you can reach out. And there's a phone number that you can reach out to if you want to be in the live studio audience. HIP members, of course, take precedent and do have a reserve section. But you have to make sure that you reserve your seat before tomorrow. Tomorrow is the 1st of February, so you have to do that. So just make sure that you get your tickets, you reserve your seats if you're here local in Atlanta, because you are definitely not going to want to miss this show.
Black Love on Lockdown. Yep. So moving right along, let's see. Do we have any other announcements we might need to make, Brittany?
So I'm just looking through. I want to pull up here. Let me pull up here. So that's as far as our announcements that we have so far. Oh, I have an announcement as well, along with LE Radio. So I'm gonna bring this picture while I'm talking. But I am actually hosting an event called Reign Supreme, the Mastodon, the
Well,
Gods.
picture.
I'm pulling it up now. Um, that is basically a self-help love event, because we were just talking about self-help and love for masculine-centered women, specifically, because I think that is very important, and I think it's something that we really need to kind of focus in on. And let me share that with you now. I'm going to share the flyer that I have. So this is something that we will be broadcasting from as well. Also, we're not going to broadcast the whole thing, because there are parts of it that are going to be definitely where we're talking about mental health and everything. There's 4 facilitators. We have someone that's going to facilitate talking about the body and how to natural products and kind of how to do that self-care. We have a licensed therapist, psychotherapist actually, going to talk more about the mental health aspects with identity, sexuality, womanhood, masculinity, and everything. Then we also have an elder who's going to come in and kind of impart some of her wisdom on how she's maneuvered over the years through a society in this form that's not quite feminine, but not quite all the way masculine as well. And then we also have, lastly, we have an incredibly talented facilitator that's going to talk about basically life relationships and how to communicate effectively, and knowing your love languages, and how to get back in touch with you as a masculine centered woman, or a woman that navigates both feminine and masculine energy. So that's one of the things that we have coming up. That is in March 20th. So if you're local to Atlanta, you can purchase a ticket. If you're not local, there are virtual tickets. You would just go to the Eventbrite website, reign supreme moc.eventbrite.com, or you can reach out to me directly if you have any additional questions or information that you have regarding the event. More information to become, definitely. And that's pretty much it.
Okay. So again, as always, we appreciate everybody that tuned into the show tonight. Next week we shall be back roughly about 6:15 again. Yeah, I say we'll be back next week at, you think 6:15 is a good time, Brittany?
Yeah, 6:15 is good.
Okay, so we'll be back to next Sunday at 6:15. The ATL Mint shall return next Friday night at 9 p.m. Eastern. The Poetic Soul Artistry will be on at 10:15. If you want to get on that mic, hit Brittany up, Ellie Radio 2010 at
2010@gmail.com.
And then Sunday morning we have the Random Acts of Healing with the Hood Doctor. That's Ami Brown show. So that's Saturday mornings, 11 a.m. Central and 12 noon Eastern time. So, and like in Shy City Cafe should hopefully be releasing next Sunday as well, right after this show, which would be probably about 7:30.
Mm-hmm.
Roughly about 7:30. So yeah, we appreciate you. And again, go over, join coffeetalk.com to keep us up. I will keep y'all locked and loaded. Thank Queen B.
Yes, Queen B over here showing love. She says, thank you for the platform. She jumped on really quickly. She says, Punany Poets are the business. It inspired my erotic writing. So, Queen B, you might need to be on the Poetic Soul Artistry with me. We might need to get a show together so you can come on one Friday and we can hear some of that erotic poetry, since February is love month. So every topic, every show in the month of February for Poetic Soul Artistry will be love themed. So yeah, we might need to, I'll email you on the social media site. And thank you again for everybody tuning in, of course, as always.
Right. We appreciate it. And we will see y'all next Sunday at 6:15. Have a beautiful week.
All right. Bye.
You are now tuned in to Coffee Talk on LE Radio. Yeah. Serving you up some new flavor, fresh out of ATL. Where the vibes prevail, the convo's held between a scale of 1 to 10 exceeds 1,000. But do you feel me? Go ahead and get your cups ready as we pour into your mind, slow and steady. You may need a full cup for this. CoffeeTV.com. We got raw and adulterated conversations, live, provocative entertainment, new flavor in your ear for my podcast, talk show, radio. Watch us live online in the studio. Tell a friend they can come too. Never know what's in store with the whole crew. Cause we got you. Yeah. Get here for the vibes. Follow us at LE Radio Live.